what was your big extracurricular activity, and tell us about that.
Well, that was the 87th Street Gang, which was a real high point in my whole career, and it was a lot of fun. Went through my classes and asked if there's anybody who could sing or play guitar, wanted to be part of a group, and that's how it started. I'd say by the second year, some of the best musicians in the school were trying out for and in the gang, and as a result, we played all over. We played all over Kansas City. One year, we went to a school in Shawnee Mission, a high school over there, and 2 assemblies, got 3 standing ovations. So they were good. I'm not a musician. I can play 5 chords on a guitar, and they won't let me sing. Nobody will let me sing. So I was just there to kind of keep order and help things be structured a little bit. We did a multimedia. We had some dance in it, and it was a combination of folk and pop. The pop, there was a lot of message music in those times, and we were into that. And we also did some Beatles and a mixture. And as we went, the kids seemed to become more sophisticated. They even began to arranging their own music.
I coached the swim team. I was the first coach of the swim team from 68 through 84.
And now we didn't have a very good swimming pool at Center High School, I can tell you that.
Oh, we didn't have one. Went to the Jewish Community Center in the morning, first year, and to Hawaii in Johnson County for a couple of years. No pool.
What time did you practice?
5:30 in the morning.
How was the swim team during the time that you were there?
We never won a conference championship, but we always had somebody go to state.
Did the swim team continue after you left?
For a few years, yes. I retired in 96, and I think it probably went maybe to 2000. And I had come there from Los Alamos, New Mexico. I've been in Los Alamos for 5 years, became a center in 67. So I was not really a rookie. I was a rookie in the building, but not to teaching. So center at that time was number 1, basically.
When you say it was number 1, how so?
Well, I've been in the suburban area, Ruskin, Hickman Mills, Raytown, all those places. Grandview, it was number 1, I thought.
I taught senior English and had yearbook staff. And the yearbook staff is why I continued teaching. It was a more informal setting, and you were doing fun stuff, photography and interviews, and it was neat. I remember that we had a brand new wing on the high school, and I had a brand new room. Over there across the hall was the newspaper with Mrs. Laswell. You remember her?
Of course.
And next door was Mrs. Scott, who taught senior English also. So downstairs was the brand new graphic arts department that helped us tremendously. Patty Barrows designed the cover of the yearbook and was running up and down those steps all the time.
I understand that you worked on a project. It was a video project. Tell us.
Yes. In fact, I ran across those. We did them on Super 8 film, and I sent one of those little films to Barbara Brown several years ago. I don't know. I think she had it made into a DVD, and maybe some of you saw it, but they were kind of wild. She still has it.
It does.
Well, I didn't know what to do with them after we finished the yearbook. We finished the yearbook in March. What do you do with kids that long? So that's what I came up with. I think that you all have become very good human beings, and I have some advice. Keep a PMA, a positive mental attitude, and my watchword to live by is live every day thankfully, not resentfully. I think if the whole world did that, it would be a much better place.
You know, we had all of that problems with the smoking. We thought they were problems. The administration was smoking in the restroom. By 1985, there was no smoking in the restrooms.
Really? Why is that? They just stopped?
Part of it was the whole issue about health and smoking. I always wanted to call up the vice principals of the 70s and say, hey, guys, they don't have to worry about that anymore.
Well, they're all smoking joints now.
Well, probably. In 1969-70 was my first year at CHS. 4 of my social studies classes were American History juniors, and one was a senior elective economics. I finished my teaching career at Center and retired in 1995.
Wow.
Mr. Angel got me involved with the Key Club because he became the junior class sponsor. You all would know that. And so I was with the Key Club, and I was a volunteer judge for Mr. Brown's debate trips when he needed judges to go on his debate trips. So
Fantastic.
that's what I was doing in 70. The things that I remember that affected the senior class were the Key Club president was Jack Bondon, and Mark Fowler was a member of that class. And I remember them very well and been around them ever since. There was a Key Club convertible for the homecoming that year. It was a red 1970 Pontiac GTO, and it was mine for a day, believe it or not. And I took my wife and 3-year-old daughter for a ride around town for about 2 hours, and that was the greatest thing for us. We had a great time. And of course, I did get it back in time for the homecoming at the football game. I run shouts. This is what I also remember. I had that one economics class. Stands out as a good student of economics. I don't know why I remember so much about it, because later on we made economics a required course at Center High School. I wish this evening to honor Dennis Pollock, whose untimely death brought sorrow to our economics classroom. And I don't know if you all know about Dennis, but I do want to honor him. Everyone got a day off to attend the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl win parade. And few of us thought that it would take another 50 years to have a Super Bowl parade. I'd say to the class of 1970, who are now 68 years old, and I remember you as 17 and 18, you remember me as 29, and you're entering your retirement years. Some of you are probably retired now, and looking down the road might be retiring. I would say that emotionally live one day at a time and financially live for tomorrow. I also recommend that you all keep a gratitude journal, which daily you outline what you feel grateful for and have seen in that day. Today I would write, I'm grateful to be a part of the 50th reunion of the class of 1970.
I love to sing and play my guitar, and I sing at church and I sing at nursing homes, and I tell them it keeps me off the streets and off of drugs. It keeps my body healthy, it keeps my mind alert, and it improves my my memory.
Memory.
Oh, yeah.
I started teaching at Lee Summit, and Lee Summit had an archaic rule that husband and wife could not teach in the same building, and they knew that they could find a woman or another person to teach choral music a lot easier than they could find someone like my wife. She taught a lot of stuff, so they fired me. We went to Illinois University at Champaign-Urbana. I got my master's. And then we went to St. Joe, and then Center High opened up. Jack Overby was there. He had been there about 8 years. And I knew Jack from way back in college days when I went to sing with his high school choir. He called me and he said, I'm going down to Drury College to teach. are you interested in my job? And I said, yes. Because in 1965, Center was one of the top 3 districts in the whole state of Missouri, music-wise and otherwise. There was Center, Kickapoo in Springfield, and maybe one school in St. Louis. But Center was one of the top, and they had Bendix out there. They paid well. And so I went to Center in 65, and within 3 years, I was making as much as we both made in St. Joe. The level of intelligence and maturity of the Center students was just unbelievable. All I had to do is wave my hands, and if I put a piece of music in front of my choir and I said, you know, this may be above our ability, that choir would work their fannies off to learn that song, and they would learn it. There wasn't a choir in our district that could compete with Center. I had a chance to go and have my own business, but I stayed with teaching, and I have never been sorry. And I do not make as much as a professional football player makes, but I made enough to make it through. And it's just, teaching is an experience, and I thought I was in the best school system in the whole state of Missouri.
I taught there 21 years, and I started with the concert band, and then the marching band. Then we had a second hour band, and I also directed the elementary band. I gave lessons after school and did the jazz band. The first concert we had with the little elementary kids, they had them up on the stage, and they played the first line and, you know, squeak and squawk. And so we all laughed and so on. I said, well, we'd like the parents to come up and play their child's instrument. So the parents came up and played the child's instrument. And of course, it was just cacophony. It was just, and the kids just laughed.
That is so funny.
The parents went with their head down, went back to their seats.
Do you remember Guys and Dolls?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you mean the Center plays?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we played for those.
Yeah.
We call it the MAD department, the music department, the art department, and the drama department. And it was, I thought, on a scale of Starlight. They just did a wonderful job. CHET Landis and John CHRONISTER and myself, and we just had a ball, and the kids did too. They were on top. They loved that. Some of the productions that we did at Center would rival anything Starlight would put on. Music is a universal language, understood by all people, and so I don't see it having any qualms about existence. I think it will be right there. And in fact, I had a little adage that I put above the Center High School band room, and it says, when you're on time, you're late, and when you're early, you're on time. And even today, I have old-time classroom kids will say, I tell my kids the same thing. It's just stuck with me.
I was a graphic arts teacher at Center High School. It was my first year. My first year was 1969 to 1970. So this was my first graduating class there.
What were graphic arts like back then? I mean, it's hard for us to remember because this whole field has just exploded since you taught us high school.
In those days, it was almost all cut and paste and manual typing, or it wasn't a typewriter, it was a typesetter, but it gave you a manual copy, and you cut and paste, put that all together. Right now, my telephone does more than our $20,000 typesetter that we had before I left. So things have changed considerably. I worked with the yearbook and the school newspaper. I had been asked to develop a program there and didn't know who would be walking in the door. We didn't even have a classroom. We were meeting in the space that became a lounge later on at the bottom of the stairs on the first floor. And it was just an open area. And we developed from that into a full classroom in 3 years. So that was a memorable year. But of course, I have many students that I remember. Some I should mention, some I shouldn't. But I think you all know Patty Barrows, and she's memorable to me because her father hired me. But it was a big year, a nice year. I had literally moved to heaven when I started teaching at Center. I had been teaching 7 years in an inner city school, and not that it was bad, but the difference in supplies and equipment and student body was tremendously different. I don't say the kids were any better, but the kids came ready to learn and with tools to learn. They could have extracurricular things. The best advice you can give is if you do everything that you know to do and you do it with love, you've done the right thing. Parents used to come to me and want to know about students and what can I do for my student, and that was always my answer. If you're doing the very best you can, then you're doing the right thing if you do it with love.
Your senior year, I guess, was the first year I was in COE, the Cooperative Occupational Education Program, where kids come to school half day and then they worked out in the community for the rest of the day. Very good program for kids that were struggling in school, and it gave them a chance, to get away and make some money, and so it was a good program. I was hired as a coach, and I taught business courses, and my courses now were obsolete. I taught typewriting, which would not be a nothing anymore. I taught bookkeeping, which is now done all on computers and everything. And I had salesmanship class, I had basic business classes, and then like I said, those were my subject areas. The relationships I had with the kids in your class was probably one of the strongest I had in my 11 years at Center. Guys like Quentin, Mark Fowler, Bruce Fuller, Earl Mason, Jamie Daggett, those guys were fun to be with. They had a great sense of humor and maintained some relationships with those guys even after they graduated. They tell you not to look back, but I'm telling you, count your blessings. You look at the world now, the high schools, with the virus, you look at the drugs, you look at the guns, you look at the shootings. I mean, it's crazy out there. And you think of the time you went through high school and you didn't have those kind of things. I know the drugs were probably starting to speed up a little there, but nothing like today. And all this other violence and everything it's crazy. So like I said, and then, being quarantined and everything. So, and then, from a basketball coach's thing, whether you even play the games or whatever. So it's really been a struggle. I'm sure you've lost classmates through the years and stuff like that. So, and the successes you had in life, look at the positive in life, not the negative.
When I came to Center early on, I taught senior lit, and at other times I taught classes in the language arts department. I did speech and theater, we did contest work, and various and sundry other things. I remember being a senior class sponsor. When I first came to Center, we did a straight show in the fall. We did children's theater in February, and we did a musical in May. I will be 90 in February.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. For you, awesome. For me, not so much.
I feel you. I know. It's hard getting older. We all know that.
One of the best things I can say to you, I said in production, you've got to listen to what other people say, mostly to the actors around you. And in life, the people around you are all actors. And you have a role to play, they have a role to play, and you talk about standards. When you want to do something as best as possible, sometimes it's not possible. You need to demand the best from the other actors, but you got to listen to them. Acting has always been, for people or people on the stage, acting has always been reacting. You listen and you react. I mean, if they tell you to jump off the bridge, you listen. You don't want to do it, you react. You don't do it. People, they, instead of listening, they're on their own soundtrack. And you can tell who those people are
Yes.
that are not listening, because they're not reacting to produce a good moment. If you're not going to listen to the other people around you and then react, you might as well just walk off the stage, the production or the stage of life. Because if you're not willing to listen to everybody else, what you ask of you or tell you something or do something, if you don't want to listen to them, because what you've got to say to yourself is more important, then I don't predict much success. But if you're willing to listen and react and produce, why, you'll get a good result. I had such a great group of kids to work with at Center. It seems like everybody's always willing to get in there and dig, and that was fine, and we were very successful. I miss it. Of course I miss it. But holy cow, when I retired from Center, it was 1988, I worked with a local theater group out here. They have some talents there, but they were so keyed at me because I had the same kind of bands, I had discipline. They would want to come to rehearsal and have a half-an-hour picnic. I said, what in the hell are we here for? And they were there for a picnic. They were there for something. I finally got it over to them, and they hated my guts. And I can imagine why. Because we weren't there for funsing and goodies. We were there to work. And my God, you'd think I'd ask them all to go jump in a fire or something. I always said, and I told you guys, talent without discipline is crap. If you haven't got discipline, my God, how can you keep going in a 2-hour show in front of 1,000 people under hot lights, makeup, and the whole dang thing, unless you have discipline to bring your talent out, and then you've got something to work with.